It's really an honor to be here with you. So thank you so much for giving us your time this morning. I'll be asking Prabhu some questions, and then there'll be an opportunity at the end for the wonderful devotees in the assembly. What is your greatest inspiration to do book distribution?
It's my Guru Maharaj. He said it to me once. You are intelligent and you have to engage your intelligence in Krishna service. And the highest act of intelligence is to bring people close to Krishna, or to help Srila Prabhupada to distribute his books and make devotees. This is the whole purpose of ISKCON.
The whole purpose of ISKCON?
To make devotees, to bring people close to Krishna. That's what Prabhupada did, and we follow the legacy. And amongst all the service, I believe that book distribution is the most effective one to make devotees.
Playing devil's advocate a little bit. Prabhupada wanted us to use every avenue possible to reach the fallen conditioned souls. TV, online media, digital media, this program. There are many different types of programs we can use to attract the public. In this day and age, is book distribution still the most effective way to reach people, do you think?
Yes, it will be eternally. The whole empire of the Vatican didn't become manifest by technology or by money, but it was from a book, the Bible. So the power of the book, that's why we say the books are the basis. Internet, technology, they're just the medium, they're not the basis. You can watch a movie, but you can watch someone speaking on TV or hear someone. It's like a puff of smoke, cloud, pour some rain, then it will go. We tend to forget. But the book stays with us. Every time we pick it up, God is speaking to us. And then that knowledge stays with us. And we pass on the book to somebody else. It's not the activity of book distribution that is glorious, but the reading of those books. People change, they have the power to change the life of the people, the mainstream of people's life. Like, for example, a beautiful couple here, they were walking in Oxbridge, and I gave them Bhagavad Gita, how many years ago? 10 years ago? 11 years ago. And now they're book distributor, husband and wife. You can introduce yourself? Bhima Prabhu is initiate, and his wife. And they're not just becoming devotee, but they always feel inspired, every time they distribute books. And they also engaged in changing people's stream of life. They're wonderful devotee. They got initiate, and they distribute books. And most of the devotees here, if you ask them, what is the most, Nilamadava has been in management for many years, but he's done a lot of book distribution. Why did he come here today to hear someone like me? It's not me, but it's the activity that is inspiring, because Prabhupada gave his bone marrow, and there is bone marrow of Srila Prabhupada in these books. And anyone who reads them and distributes them, is very dear to Srila Prabhupada. So you could see that Nilamadava is still a connoisseur of book distribution. Otherwise he wouldn't be here today. And he's the man in charge of the manor.
book distribution is the bone marrow of Srila, or Srila Prabhupada gave his bone marrow for book distribution. So that's quite an inspiring meditation. So let's say we feel inspired, we know the philosophy, we have some conviction, but still to hit the streets, that's a whole other story. Is book distribution for everybody, or is it only for a certain class of devotee or a certain type of devotee? Perhaps someone that's more outgoing, people who are good at sales, people who can give good classes. Is it only for those type of devotees, and will everyone else struggle? Or
good question. Before you mentioned different types of temples. This one is a temple where Srila Prabhupada translated his books, wrote down his realizations. Downstairs, Radha Gokulananda, the book room is another temple. However, there is another temple for me and for the book distributors. That is strict, outside there. And the books are the deities. Yes, book distribution is for everybody. But it doesn't mean they have to be on the mainstream. Just like when there is a war, then you have the ministers, you have the cooks, you have those who prepare the munitions, those who prepare the books, those who, the drivers, you have we call it the backup. Those, they get the same credit. Those who take care of the book distributors, the managers of the temple, they take care of brahmachari, they make sure they have warm clothes, good prasad, they get to go to India, for pilgrimage. They have, they're looked after nicely, brahmachari and brahmacharini. So this is, the managers also, they take care of the preachers, and they share the same benefit as the front line men. So if you can't distribute books, you do something else. Krishna says in the Gita, if you can't do bhakti yoga, you do karma yoga. If you can't do karma yoga, you do jnana yoga. There are so many types of yoga, how to link with the devotional service. And of course, many of you who are here, these are all mainstream book distributors. Just like I just did a seminar in Leicester, 2 days, and I took devotees out. The temple president, Pradyumna, he's a book distributor. He was trained together with Nila Madhava, they joined together. See, these are moments that the manager, no matter in whatever positions they end up with, as a temple president but they love it. Pradyumna came out distributing books, because they never forget that the book has made them favorable, the book has made them devotee. We owe everything to the book. And the greatest gratitude, is to remain faithful and loyal to Srila Prabhupada, to distribute this mercy. So the managers, they always meditate, on this preaching activity, especially book distribution. Prabhupada gave us 3 activities which are considered to be full-fledged missionary work. Book distribution, prasad distribution, and Harinam. That's what's going on. The manor is maintaining that. Saw Street, every temple has got these 3 main activities. And then all the rest, it's managerial, it's institutional. But it's everything institutional is meant to serve the mission.
I really liked how you said we owe everything to the book. And I think we can see that in our individual lives. And I remember, I think when I was 14, my dad came home and gave me a copy of Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers. and that was because a devotee in Soho Street had approached him in his office and given him these books. And it's easy to forget that whatever little progress I may have made in my Krishna consciousness today is a result of that one little interaction, dropping that perfect questions, perfect answers into my dad's hands, and he gave it to me. And I wonder whether the other devotees in the assembly can relate with that point. Anyone familiar with that idea of, okay, I've come here because someone's given me a book, or a book has somehow reached me, and that's given me so much faith and taken me to the next step in my Krishna conscious journey. And so today all of us have that opportunity to make other people similarly fortunate. And I wanted to ask you, Prabhu, what's the number one qualification or number one quality we should be looking to imbibe when we hit the streets today to make other people just as fortunate as we are?
The secret of success in book distribution, it's the blessings of the spiritual master and the blessings of Lord Krishna. So I would suggest that every day, I mean, that's a personal thing. 99% of the endeavor is to get out of the temple, get out of the house. Otherwise, if you're in a house, the wife makes you doing things, and if you're in the temple, they make you doing things. So it's a transcendental escape, preaching. The secret is to just get out, hit the field, and then that's 99%. And then if you do that, you've already won the day, successful. The other 1%, it's Krishna leading you, leading the chariot of your activity, your life. So the number one priority is, we pray. I usually pray, Mukam karoti vachalam pangalam gayate girim. Yakripa tamaham vande shiguru dinatarina. Devotees, sometimes they say, what is the secret of going out, maintaining steadiness every day? It's not me. It's not the muscle endeavor. It's not mental endeavor. It's not intelligence. I mean, I've got diabetes. I feel tired all the time. I'm pretty much, I'm 61. People, sometimes they retire at this age, But there is some particular energy. You invoke that energy from the Lord. By the mercy of the spiritual master, the blind man can see stars in the sky, lame man can cross mountains, and a dumb man like me can speak few words on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So this is my prayer. That is the secret. It's not a philosophical preparation of the mind. It's not that, I don't have a good sadhana, speaking honestly. It's not whether I chant, pure rounds or fancy rounds or getting up for Mangalarti. It's to always feel, the secret is to feel helpless and ask Krishna, please empower me to do few books. Not to do a lot, but a little. And then, you will have a successful day. So the secret, the number one priority is to ask Krishna. Even at the meaning of chanting, when we chant Hare Krishna, we can go around the Tulsi plants, dogmatically or mechanically chanting 16 rounds before breakfast. But then if we don't catch the meaning of it, which is, my dear Lord, please engage me in your service. So I plainly invoke in English, please help me to distribute a few books. Because, we know that Krishna does everything. He led the chariot of Arjuna, but he was the Adikarta. He empowered Arjuna to shoot the arrow, to kill everyone. It was ultimately Sarva Karana Karanam. He's the cause behind everything. He can empower or disempower someone the way he wants. He can make a weak man very strong. He can make a strong man very weak. So if we understand that, then Krishna, he will see our enthusiasm and he will give the mercy. It's not book distribution, it's not relying on physical strength, mental strength, or intellectual strength. It's completely spiritual activity. And then once you get the mercy, the first book goes out, and that's when you open the tap. The mercy carry on flowing.
Jai. So in that sense, there is no disqualification for doing book distribution. We simply have to depend on Krishna and pray. You mentioned also, there's this prayer, Mukham Karoti Vachalam, and praying to the spiritual master. And I know your spiritual master was a Sankirtan giant. He really, really pushed book distribution, and he was the pioneer, the Radha Damodar Bus Party, which at a time in ISKCON's history was distributing books all over America faster than the BBT could actually print the books. So I wonder if you could share some instructions or lessons or anything you've learned from Tamal Krishna Maharaj that could help us today.
He passed away in 2002. And I remember that when we put him in a samadhi, Bhattichuru Swami, the spiritual master of Nilamadhava, he said something very interesting. Him and Shivaram Maharaj, they said, don't worry, you haven't lost him. You can still carry on meeting him every time you go out on book distribution. That's where you fulfilling the instructions of the Guru means to be with the Guru. So I never felt, I took that to heart. I never felt that, of course now Bhattichuru Maharaj is gone as well. But, sometimes a neophyte disciple thinks, my Guru is gone, I could do whatever the hell I want and there's nobody watching me. I don't have to chant my 16 rounds, I don't have to obey the authority, I don't have to, but that's a wrong mentality. The Guru always lives in his instructions, and I feel more in his association now than when he was alive. Because I know every day if I want to go and meet him, I find him in my service. So that was the activity that he was the most pleased with me. In fact, the last letter he wrote it to me, 2001. I still got it, and he said, "You carry on simply distribute these books, and I will be very proud to present you before Srila Prabhupada." So that was in a letter, and it really touched my heart, because we've given our lives to the spiritual master, and whatever he says, it's not a joke, it's not a false promise. Whatever the Guru says is the absolute truth. The Guru never cheats the disciple. And then after 22, 23 years, I realized, I said it in my speech, I think Nilamadhava was present. I don't have to wait when I die to meet Srila Prabhupada, to be presented before him. I feel that my Gurudev has said that so that I can meet Srila Prabhupada as well when I distribute books, and I feel the presence of Srila Prabhupada behind my shoulder. I may not see him, I may not hear him, but I know he's there. Prabhupada is very much present in his books, you know, and is very much present where the service of his book distributor, when the service of book distributor is going on. So the book distributor should never feel alone, even though I go out every day on my own. So I've got all the reasons to feel alone. But for years I've always, of course, Dhananjaya Prabhu now is very sick, but we went out together for 6 years. It was nice. We would read from the book before we go out. And that's what I carry on doing now. You know, whatever book you are distributing, you read that book, Bhagavad Gita, just one verse, and pray to the book, you know, please empower me to distribute you. Because these are the words of Krishna. It's not just paper. It's Krishna is very much alive in these books. You don't have to go to the temple to see him. You can see Krishna by touching these books, reading these books. Or people, they feel the same effect. Something becomes awake in their consciousness, you know, their knowledge becomes awake, the eternality phenomena and the happiness. That's why when they receive the book, they're happy. I never seen anyone miserable receiving the book. And you never feel miserable after giving out a book, because the nature of the soul is to give. When you give, you are happy. That's the fundamental nature of the soul is to be happy when you give. The nature of the mind is to take. When you take, you're miserable. But of course, when people receive books, they feel blissful. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj was very pleased, you know, to see me engaged in this service. And I, by his mercy, I did about 7-8 years business selling paintings before he passed away. And I would give out, when I resigned as a Sankirtan leader for the manor. And I made a lot of money, you know, to create a stability for my family and house. And I had all the research, but then the next question is, now what? Do I want more? That's atyahara. When you have plenty as a devotee and you want more, it's atyahara. That's what a lot of people, wealthy people, they're doing. Politicians, they always want something more, better position. A wealthy man wants, if he's a millionaire today, he wants to become billionaire tomorrow. So that's dusparena nalinacha, you know, the mind is never satisfied. It's like pouring fuel on fire. But then my Guru Maharaj passed away, and I took to heart. I came back on book distribution, and I feel fully satisfied. Wow. And Krishna says, you know, for my devotee, I carry what he likes. What did he say? I preserve what he has, and I carry what he likes. And I never liked of anything. I've never, you know, I've become more and more prosperous. I don't do much out. I use it for preaching. I do it for preaching, to nourish my soul. Bhaktisiddhanta said, you know, one who preaches, he has a life. Whether you are poor or rich, it doesn't matter. But if you preach, you are wealthy, because you are in the mood of giving to people. And so it's all by the mercy of my Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, the Parampara. You know, sometimes second generation devotees, they don't give much credit to their gurus. But it's real, you know, otherwise we are Ritvik. if it's just Prabhupada or Bhaktivinoda. We have to honor the parampara, not just the parampara, even the devotees who have inspired us, who have supported us, like Shruti Dharma Prabhu, my good friend, always supported me in my service. And I saw my Guru Maharaj in him. Any temple president or temple manager, is pleased with you. It means your Guru is pleased with you. That's how you judge whether or not you're pleasing your Guru. You can't just climb over the head of a senior devotees and have a straight relationship with your Guru. So I believe in this system, the hierarchy of the system. If someone is senior than me, that inspires me, that person represents Srila Prabhupada, my Guru, Lord Chaitanya. And you all become senior at some point, and you will all be in a position of inspiring young devotees. And this is our system. We have to be an inclusive movement, not exclusive. Only worship the Guru or Prabhupada. It's all Prabhupada's mercy. But then, your Guru Maharaj, why you left him out? Actually it's the mercy comes down like a rain, and more comes down and more becomes pure, filtered, like water. More filter is God, more pure is the water. So if the mercy comes down, to your Sankirtan leader, that person represents the mercy of God for you. Like your father, he gave you the book.
Mm-hmm.
He's your Guru.
Yeah.
The mercy came through him, and he represents your Guru, Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya. Mercy comes in so many ways, and we have to see that.
Thank you, Vishwambara Prabhu. Mercy comes in many ways, and now it will be perhaps a good opportunity for the devotees here to ask a question. Has anybody got any questions they want to ask? Any doubts they have about going out on Sankirtan today? Any blocks? It's time to get those cleared.
I have a question.
First him and then you.
Sometimes you don't get very nice reactions when you're trying to distribute books, and you deal with this situation as it happens. But then I feel like it leaves a scar, and it's hard to get rid of the scar because you're still trying to distribute the books, but the mind's playing games with you by keep running through that scenario of what happened about that person that you just knocked on the door and he was really rude to you and whatever happened. How do you deal with that? For me, I just carry on, and I hope that Krishna just helps me forget.
Good question. Sometimes a new devotee, he feels that he's actually a failure, something wrong with him. But we have to be pure like a marble, rather than rough like the cement or whatever. The marble, why is it pure? Because if you throw some mud, I saw one time, I had this realization in Vrindavan, some kids, throwing some mud on a marble, but it wouldn't stick. It would just. But if you throw the same mud, on a rough surface, it will stick. The rough surface is our ego. When people they throw some mud at you, it will stick because you take offense. An advanced devotee, he wouldn't take offense. Because he understands, the problem is with that person. You don't make their problem your problem. If they were rude, they are the ones rude, not you. You've done your duty. So you have to keep your consciousness clean like marble. So even if they throw As I said in the class the other day, everyone was laughing. It's the truth. When I first came in this country, I couldn't speak a word in English. And sometimes, trying to stop people was not easy, to give them a book. And there was a couple. The man, he was swearing on me, very angry, and he was swearing. But I couldn't understand the swearing, and I was smiling. Because I couldn't understand. So play ignorance when people, they offend you. Don't take offense. So then something interesting happened. After 10 minutes, the partner, the girl came, and she wanted to talk to me. She had tears in her eyes. This was in London, Piccadilly. She had an argument with her partner. So I asked one Italian devotee to translate for me. She wanted to talk to me. And she said, the Rupa Raghunath, the devotee, he was translating, said, this girl, she feels very bad, that because the partner was swearing at me, swearing at my mom, a lot of swear words, and I was smiling as if instead of getting angry or be reactive. Of course, I felt the pain, what is got to do with my mom, But then, she said, you're a genuine priest, a monk, because you didn't get angry, and I've learned a lesson today. So she, as a reward, she wanted to buy the book. She got the book, can't remember what book was, and she gave me a donation. So that was a lesson for me. We have to play ignorance when offense comes. Don't take it to heart. Let it slip down. Have a marble consciousness. People, because it's their problem. And also another thing is that a neophyte devotee thinks that everybody should take a book. That's the pride, false ego. If you feel bad, if you feel scarred, it means that you are attached. That's kind of karma yoga. It's not bhakti. It means you are attached, to your work. You want your work to be successful, but it's not. So it's up to Krishna when someone is ready. If someone is not ready, he won't take the book. You can't force that person. But what you did is a devotional service. Because to cause disturbance in the heart of someone, if they've been rude to you, that is called an artha nivritti. Exercise is like, you put the cross, the Bhagavad Gita, in front of their eyes. When people, they feel exercised, they become angry, reactive rather than proactive. And then they become angry and violent or whatever. But that is good. Why? It means the process is working. Book distribution doesn't mean the success is measured by when you give out the book. But even when you stand there in the street and people, they have a darshan of you with a book in your hands, they get purified. Mm. And then next time they see you, they see the book, they touch the book, then they don't take it. Again, they get purified. Or they're rude to you. So you have to understand what is Sankirtan. Sankirtan is everything you do, not just when you give out the book. And then after they're ready to take the book, Krishna in their heart said, okay, you're ready now. They come to you, they take the book, they give you a donation. And that's because their consciousness has been purified, prepared. But you can't give like a big feast to a baby, right? Mm. You have to let it grow. First the milk, then the grain. So demons like that, we are out, to purify everybody. Demons, they become angry. That's like Prabhupada said, in the beginning they get angry. First they laugh, they deride at you, then they become angry. And then afterwards they become favorable. It's called the process of anartha nivritti. You have to allow their consciousness to go through the process of purification. A neophyte, a book distributor, he thinks the whole world should get a book. Trump should get a book, this one should get a book, everyone. But it's not like that. Only those who are prepared, they receive the mercy, the book. And amongst those, very few they become devotee. That's why Krishna says in the Gita, Bhaunam Jamanam Ante Gyamanam Maprabhu. Amongst many Manushyanam Sahasri Sukha Shiddyatat. He gives many verses where only few they come close to him, and maybe only one becomes liberated and understand him. So if you feel the scar, that's purification for you, but don't feel guilty. Always think, is their problem, is not my problem. Why should I make their problem my problem? It belongs to them. It doesn't belong to you. See that problem, as rubbish, as a stool. Don't let it touch you. And carry on. But, rejoice because even if you instigate some anger in them, their devotional service, has began. Because when we become purified, is not, the happiness is not the very first symptom. There is anartha nivritti, bhajana kriya. First, in contact with the bhajana kriya means in contact with devotional service or with a devotee. Instigate the anartha nivritti. Anartha nivritti means when anartha, poison, comes out in you and in them also. We both get purified. And then after that is steady, nishta, then ruchi, you see. It's not the other way around. They feel blissful first and then miserable afterwards. You okay with my answer?
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah?
A question is, sometimes we get different feedbacks as to the types of books that we should distribute. So, somebody would say, you shouldn't distribute this type of book, you should distribute very basics books. But sometimes we feel that people are ready to take advanced books like Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita and other things as well. So what would be your take, or what would be your strategy for us in the marathon? I mean, we've got the set book packs that we do, but in your experience and vast experience of doing this, how have you felt across with the recipients?
You can only sell what you know. You distribute what you know, your knowledge, what you preach. If you give out Bhagavad Gita, you have to know the Bhagavad Gita. If you give out Bhagavatam, you have to know the Bhagavatam. Otherwise, people, it's like selling the product, but you have to know the basic, a little bit of basic presentation about that book, summarize the content of that book to the receiver. Otherwise, you're just a salesman. But of course, we want to preach a little bit, but not too much, because the rest is done in the book. But according to the audience and the receiver, usually Bhagavad Gita is the best book, and all the other small books are the essence of the Gita. Prabhupada in the Perfect Question, Perfect Answer, it's all from Bhagavad Gita, they're all quotes from Bhagavad Gita. Chant and be happy, all quotes from Bhagavad Gita. So sometimes people, they, according to their type of intelligence, you give and the donation, you give that particular book, you give a couple of pounds, you give a small book, but you always try to introduce Bhagavad Gita with a small book. They give a tenner, 10 pounds, I give it 2 books usually. I always tell them, read the smaller one, which stimulates, it's like aperitivo, what do you call it? Appetizer, yeah, it stimulates your appetite, and then they dive into the Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes, I find people with struggling with bad habits, alcohol, or gambling. Now I'm doing different type of, but doesn't mean you have to do the same. I do in the shopping mall, and I go in the gambling area. I try to get these people. Sometimes, I feel so sorry. Young people, all their wage is played. I met one boy, 24-year-old boy, with a little girl, and all his wage was taken away by the, this machine, 400 pounds. And so I was really preaching to him. I gave the book for free. He had no money. I said, I said, you want to become free from these bad habits? So I gave the life, Prabhupada, life of a saint. To associate with a saint means you become empowered by him and you lose the bad habits. Like yesterday I met someone, in Watford. Sometimes I ask them, whatever bad habits you have, by associating with the teachings of this saint, Prabhupada Lilamrita, you lose bad habits, whether it's alcohol or smoking, or this is the result of the books, and people, they take it. Or Bhagavad Gita, discipline your mind, and the sense, how to control your mind, your senses, you have to be strong, you set priority in your life, your family comes first, then your health, and then your finance, if you have any spare money, you minimize, slowly, you still have the habit of gambling, just look after your family first, give money to your wife, whatever little bit you have left, then you gamble. And then until, you lose the habit, because the house always win. Maya is the illusion. It's the job of Maya, and she's very expert, is to kidnap everybody's intelligence. So, according to the person you present that book, but Bhagavad Gita is a winner, it's a universal book. It's well known. A lot of people, they're very familiar. They're familiar with the Bhagavad Gita. A lot of famous people, they read the Bhagavad Gita and became good people. Nelson Mandela, Obama, took the Gita. And anyway, you don't have to even quote, famous people, but it's well known. It's becoming famous. And that's why I concentrate on the Bhagavad Gita. It's not a dogmatic thing, that if I'm neophyte, I only distribute a small book. No, you could take a few big books, Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes the Science of Self-Realization is there. Someone is on a meditation, mindfulness journey. So that's a good book for you. Keep a few SSRs, they're higher taste. Then you say, they give it 10 pounds. I said, I tell you what, if you give it 10 more, I think Jagapriya has seen me doing that. 10 more, I give something for your wife, for your kids, Krishna book for the kids, stories, ancient stories, how to become moral, honest, truthful. And the cookbook for the wife. Your wife is good cook? That's for your wife. They give 10 pounds extra, 20 pounds. They give the whole package. So then the family, they will get little something each for Christmas. Better than that, you can't. Is that okay?
Yes.
No, Mataji had one here, and Mataji at the back also.
Hare Krishna. I'm rather new in the Krishna consciousness, and I don't know the books, of course, and I don't know everything from the Bhagavad Gita. I'm really new, and it's more through the yoga tradition and through kirtan and then to the Mara mantras, and then getting to know a lot of persons who are in the Krishna consciousness. This is how I came to you, and also because I met Keshava Swami and Satchidanand Swami, and I was in Radhadesh. And now I'm here, and last week I went the first time for book distribution with Keshava Swami. I just watched, I didn't say anything, I stayed more on the bed. And it's relies a little bit also to your question, am I qualified to distribute books? On the one hand, I think not really. On the other hand, I think, yes, I have, how would I say, spiritual experiences, and I know also where my heart is beating, and also what I could say maybe in a holistic way. Yeah, that is, no, when you want to be in a good condition, also, yeah, you need to be in a good health, you have to do some sport and all these things, but you also need, most of us, or maybe everybody, we need a spiritual way. We have to nourish our soul. This is so important. What would you advise me as a beginner? And it's also not my language. I'm coming from Germany.
Sure.
I'm needing a money. What would you advise me to do? Shall I speak? Shall I stay in the background? Shall I just listen and feel? And it depends on the situation.
Book distribution is not necessarily for everyone in the beginning. But it's only a question of time. If you don't feel ready, then I would advise don't go out. You know, in the early days, we devotees like you, we used to push them out. Don't worry, you'll be okay. And that's why, just to give you some encouragement, I used to hate book distribution, honestly, because on the first day, second day, as soon as you join, you're out there. And then what? What am I supposed to do here? And it was all revolutionary for me. You know, I didn't like it. I was very much shy, afraid. You know, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. So take your time. First things come first. Prepare yourself. You know, you can always help book distributors, or you can sponsor books, or you can, if you have understood that this activity of book distribution is a special, and it's a by media, how to make devotees. You can help in so many ways like either sponsor books or driving the devotees, or you can preach according to your knowledge. You know, you are a little bit more mindfulness and healing and things like that. Even if you go out to enjoy, don't have to do the marathon, and test yourself, you know, and give out 1 book, 2 books, and preach. And then you will see, you know, once you give out the book, you have opened the tap of book distribution. Then only time separates you. You will feel very happy. But I wouldn't suggest, if you're not ready, you know, then you don't have to be out there. Because we don't want you to face the block, the wall, you know, and see book distribution as poison or negative, or it could have a negative effect on you. You see, in Krishna consciousness, in the beginning, what is poison becomes a nectar later. I hated book distribution. I didn't even like it, but not that I didn't like, I hated it. I didn't. That's why I came to UK. I wanted to work in a restaurant in Sosri, but then they threw me out again. But somehow or another, Krishna rewarded the failure. I felt like a traitor, you know, a failure. It was a sacrilege, you know, for me. You know, Prabhupada's books, and I don't like that. I don't like to distribute them because I didn't like confrontation with people. But then somehow or another, by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, then I became an authority, a coordinator, Sankirtan leader. Then I started to do big. I started to win some marathons, and then that poison became a nectar. So it could have the same thing with you. You know, just take one step at a time before you start, you know, to run or move fast. So the question, don't ask that question to me, but ask within your heart, Lord Krishna, if I'm ready or not. The Lord, always follow your heart. Every devotee, I always advise devotee, okay, you took advice from me. Now the last advice you take, everybody's got a mentor, everybody's got a guru. Even my Guru Maharaj told me, said, always the last person to consult with, it's Lord Krishna within your heart. If you feel inspired to go out, you go out and distribute a book or two. If you don't, then don't go out. You could do something else. That's my advice, honest advice to you.
Hare Krishna, thank you. It's been very inspiring talking today. One thing I'd like to ask and like to know whether you have found a difference when you go out distributing with devotees or when you've been doing it by yourself. What difference have you come?
Good question. Thank you for asking that. We are all individual. I'm a very good friend, and I'm very much loved by him, by Vaisheshika Prabhu. But I don't follow his style, that when he goes out, then, there's an army of people behind him. And people, they feel intimidated. It's like shooting a mosquito with a cannon, it's to training devotees. I mean, he's good at that, but I feel the people, they become nervous, especially if it's a young lady or older lady, and you have 50 people trying to stop her and give their book. She feels a little bit, he or she, intimidated. And I've tried that before, but so I usually offer my training by telling devotee, watch me from distance. And I feel much more, of course, when you do book distribution, you are not on your own. There's 33 million demigods watching you, Lord Krishna watching you. We think, that we could say whatever we want. Or if someone gets upset, that's the way we think. We should think, that, nobody knows. So, but actually there are 33 million demigods watching. So we have to always leave someone in good impression. Never put pressure on people. And be friendly, be nice. And if I am, usually I took devotees out, but they always watch me. I offered my training from distance. Like, Guru Shakti, she's been out. And I think also Jagapriya, they watched me from distance. They can hear what I say, but at least people, they don't feel trapped or intimidated. So don't expect me to do that today. Because book distribution is it's a one-to-one thing. Whether you do door-to-door, it's between a book distributor and the conditioned soul. Not book distributors and a conditioned soul. It's a very individual thing. And it's a very personal. So each one of you have to fly your own aeroplane. You stop one person, everyone else should back off, and then you do the mantra. Now I can say a little, do you want me to tell them a little mantra that they can use?
Yes.
Because
yes.
otherwise seminar is not...
Sure.
The way I stop people, it's... I keep books not in a hand, but in a bag. I don't usually wear a tilak or clothes. I used to do book distribution with dhoti and kurta those days, but now it's a bit more undercover. People, they feel more comfortable. You have to become one with them, dress the way they dress. But the weather is the same. If it's raining, you become one with the rain. If it's cold, you become one with the cold. If it's windy, you become one with the wind. This is all the environment. You become one with everything. So if you stop someone and I say, "Excuse me, are you Italian by any chance?" Or if someone they look German, like someone, a very famous person, are you German? Are you Spanish? If they look like someone famous or whatever, they say, no, I'm English. So, oh my God, you look like such and such, whether. Said, oh, they take it as a compliment. Now, that exchange, it's already successful because you managed to stop them. And then, all of a sudden, they found themselves with a book in the hand. So anyway, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's for you anyway. Bhagavad Gita. You heard about Bhagavad Gita. We don't sell. First thing you say, we don't sell, don't worry. I'm a priest or a nun or a monk, depending which ashram you're in, which gender. So people feel said, oh, he gave me a compliment. See, the mind is like that. They feel flattered, number one. Second, you giving them a book doesn't cost anything. So they feel comfortable. Third thing, oh, he's a priest anyway, so he's not a salesman. 3. And then it's about mindfulness, meditation, yoga, karma. I'm sure you heard about those phenomena. Karma, what goes around comes around. And that's all. That's all you say. Explains, why good things happen to bad people or vice versa. Bad things happen to good people. People are intrigued, And we don't sell. Again, you say we don't sell because I'm a priest, nun, or monk, whatever. But we print these. What we do, we print these books in order to help society to overcome or combat the 4 major sufferings like old age, disease, birth, and death. This is my mantra, which is actually from Prabhupada. Prabhupada in Dallas, he told Satsvarup Maharaj, the purpose of the Gurukul is to help these children becoming free from old age, disease, birth, and death. And then he turned around to Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he said, and the purpose of book distribution is the same. We offer an opportunity to the conditioned souls to become free from suffering like old age, disease, birth, and death. So for 30, 40 years I've been using this mantra. It's entirely up to you. You could use something else if you want, but that's what I use. Shiva Maharaj used the same as well. And then and we ask everyone to help this project. We ask everyone for small donation, few pennies. Never say we sell it for £10 or 20. You will never get anything. So we ask everyone for small donation, few pennies. And then the mind is like that. He gave me a compliment. He's a priest. He's not a salesman. It's a nice book, chunky book, beautiful, attractive. I heard about Bhagavad Gita, mindfulness, meditation, yoga, karma. I'm intrigued. I'm interested. Doesn't cost me anything. And it's a donation to help people from suffering. Why not? So they put a hand in the pocket. So that's when the scales, not the scales. What do you call it in English sometimes? The technique. You stop them. Said, wait a minute. I know you're enthusiastic to give a donation. Promise me that you read this book because in our temple shop is very expensive. It's £10. And you Google it and you'll see Bhagavad Gita is actually sold for £10. However, some people, again, you don't first person singular, you don't address them. I say in plural, second person. Some people give more. Some people match the price, £10, and some people give less, whatever you can give. So you give them an idea how much to give. You don't say, but we ask you to give a tenner. You should be writing down all this. And then they leave the change and they go in the wallet and give you a tenner. But again, it's not finished there. Enthusiastic, if they're very enthusiastic to give a tenner for the Bhagavad Gita, Then he said, you know what, do you have a good wife, good cook, good or children? Then you give another book. That's for your, first you take the 10 pounds in the hand, that's secured. Then he said, you know, why don't you give a little bit extra? I'll make special prayer for you and your family. And I'll say the prayer right now for you. And you get an extra gift, another book, Higher Taste or Krishna book, whatever it is you have with you. And then you say, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. There you are. I made the prayer for you, for your safety. God bless you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So, and you know, you get 20 pounds for 3 books, 2 books. But if you feel, you know, nervous, just get the tenner for the Bhagavad Gita and walk off. If you feel, you know, that you have to feel the people. See, it was Bhattacharya Swami, he told me once, he said, you know, it's 3 ways to judge people: by looking at them, by listening to them, or feeling them. If you feel that it's already an endeavor, you know, 10 pounds, then let it go. Don't force them for more. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think we
Finish.
should.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we're very, very filled with lots of enthusiasm, lots of inspiration, technique, a beautiful meditation. The street is a temple, you said, and the books are the deities. And now we have this wonderful opportunity to pray to Krishna. Please empower me, as you mentioned. Pray to the spiritual master. And this beautiful formula that you shared, I'm sure if we all apply that today, we'll be very, very successful. But even 99% of the work is just by hitting the streets, so it's already a success. So I'd like to invite you all to warmly thank His Grace Vishwambhar Prabhu by again loudly chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. His Grace Vishwambhar Prabhu ki.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.